Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie,
Hi, I'm Lorie.
and we're hosting a retreat in Minnesota in April 2018. And we're recording this sweet little video to tell you more about the benefits of it and who would be a good fit for it.
Yeah, who did we have in mind when we put it together?
Okay, so first of all, Spring into Clarity is the name of the retreat. It's April 19th through the 22nd. And Spring into
Minnesota.
in Minnesota. But
Beautiful Stanchfield, Minnesota.
it's like an hour north of St. Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason we did it there in April was around the sense of really renewing our purpose, getting more clear on where we wanted to go throughout the rest of 2018, and really giving men and women, leaders, parents, who are looking for like uncovering something new, right? That was kind of this concept of like, get clear on,
Was like transition.
yeah,
You
transform.
find yourself in a place with a change upon you
Mm-hmm.
that you've either seen coming or it's hit you out of nowhere. But the idea is that the idea was that like this isn't the first change in your life
Mm-hmm.
that you've ever weathered, and not a small change like, oh, I feel like changing my wall color. Something that feels a little bit higher stakes.
Yeah.
It could be that your last kid has gone to college or finished college. It could be that you've been an entrepreneur and you've built up a business and you're kind of at the end of that road. You're not at the end of the road, but
Yeah. You're looking for something new. You're looking for what's next.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and you have some awareness of things that have worked and not worked in the past, or things that have felt like obstacles. And going forward, you want to be more intentional with the next steps you take. And we had this idea that either your story is overwhelming to you because, any number of reasons. You might have too many ideas. What were some other reasons?
Or just the concept of like getting clear is more of like the brain fog. Like we've relived the same story, the same pattern, the same cycle over and over and over again. You get in the you get up, have coffee, drive to work, do whatever you have to do with the kids,
right.
Work.
You're in that automatic.
You're in like point A to point B, and there's no like, you're like a little drained of inspiration or even some motivation perhaps. Right. And you just know that there's you're craving something new, but you don't know what. And so this concept of clarity comes in when we give ourselves permission to allow the clutter and the conversation and the stories. Yeah, and the cycle and the consistent chatter to settle, and we get present with ourselves, present in our body, and just be, and we allow the creativity to happen. We give ourselves permission to invest in something different, something new, invest in ourselves. And that's really where this concept of spring into clarity comes in. It's in more than just the seasonal change. It's the idea that in a short period of time, if you allow yourself permission to sit on 87 acres of woods and wetlands lands with other people that are in the same space as you, your mind is going to get clear and something new is going to be born from that experience.
Plus what we bring to the table together as story whisperers, if you will, is we both really thrive to bring out people's stories.
The unknown.
And we have experience, both of us, in different ways and in complementary ways of bringing out people's stories and helping them with tools so that they can recognize the story and they can drive the story as the author of it going forward instead of feeling like they're going to be kind of stuck in this automatic mode.
Yeah.
The same chapter over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. There's such anxiety in that space alone. Just the idea of thinking that, I mean, I've reinvented myself so many times. I've had to transform through all of those all of those different chapters. I'm doing it, I've done it again this year. So let's just share a little bit about our background so that folks who are interested in diving into this or want to schedule a call with us to talk about it even more, they know a little bit about it.
Right.
So my background is in journalism. I've been in the publishing business for 20 years, but I'm an intuitive, and my gift really lies in that empath piece where I pick up on energy really easily. I pick up on, I can see through the fear piece of what we tell ourselves and move it one step further into the soul of it. So I have a storytelling business, and that's really what I do. I help people transform lives through story, transforming their lives through story so that they're able to transform other people's lives. And we partnered because our take on storytelling is similar in that we love the soul of it, but we work differently in it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I would say I'm on a very long sabbatical from making movies. I joke that I'm a recovering filmmaker. And so I spent 20 years in the storytelling business working with writers, creators, actors, filmmakers, directors, also people who did cross-platform content. So it might be a cross education / entertainment / social media community sourced sort of what is called an IP. And so over all of those years of working with people, everything is a story to me. And it dawned on me a couple of years ago when I found myself faced with a transition that everything is a story to me. It isn't everybody else. But when I felt lost, I felt like if I could look at my life as a story, I could find my answers.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say I'm a little bit distracted because I have people walking in and out of the room and they don't realize I'm recording. If I'm blathering and sound like I can't put words together, that's why. I've got doors creaking. I've got floors creaking. Okay.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah. So, over these years that I did the movie making and script doctoring, I was a script consultant, and I worked with novelists and screenwriters and playwrights. And I also worked for some screenplay competitions. Plus, I founded one and ran it for a few years.
Wow.
And when you evaluate a written work, specifically screenplays, but it also goes for other types of narrative forms, you have five areas that you're evaluating a story for. And one of the first ones is, who is the hero? What does the hero want?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go on, you talk about the writer's voice, what their point of view seems to be, what is the theme of their piece. You talk about setting and characters and villains, and all that. And so when I'm working with someone now to show them how they can use storytelling to mine their own stories, I see these pillars of storytelling as pillars of self-examination.
Yeah, I love that.
Not only in the day-to-day in automatic mode, but when we get, like you were saying, to that place of quiet, to that place where you go intentionally to let the dust fall, then you realize you're also the author of that story. You are the creator of your story.
I know. It's so great. The other day was National Bosses Day. And I went to this networking event. Actually, it was a summit. It was called Boss Summit, Business Owner Success Summit. It was really cool. And we started by sharing stories. That's how you start every networking event, right? You share a little bit about who you do, what you do, who you do it for, why you do it, right? That's a story. Everything's a story. And when people find out that I'm an intuitive storyteller trainer, they're always like, what's that mean? And then it's like, huh. And then they always go, well, I want to write a book. And I'm like, okay, well, what story would you write? And they're like, well, and so the idea is this idea of, kind of getting clear on a story is that it really starts with the story that we're living, and that we are the author of our own story. We are the author of our own life choices. We're the authority of those stories. And those stories are birthed from the choices we think, we feel, we make, we take action on. Right. So if there's this idea of who Spring into Clarity is for, it really is for people who are open-minded, available for set amount of days, who are interested in getting
with purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. So we start on the 19th of April, and we have a half a day together.
Oh, I want to tag on to something you were saying, because I've had a couple people ask me if the retreat is for writers. And yes, I've worked with writers. I write. You've worked with writers. You write. Writers are welcome. Absolutely. Even people I've worked with in a personal growth arena who happen to be writers have found the process of looking inward and claiming their stories. Mm-hmm. They have found that productive for their writing. But something that I've talked with people about is that you don't have to be a writer or a performer to be a storyteller.
Exactly.
Just like you're at a networking meeting, or you're building a business, or you're trying to identify what's next, and you're talking with your best friend at a coffee shop, you're telling stories. Mm-hmm. And there's energy there. Mm-hmm. And you can either be spinning the energy of stuckness, or you can...
Or flow and clarity and newness and motivation and inspiration. I know, it's so good.
Mm-hmm. I just get chills.
I know. I love it. It's so good. I'm so excited for it. Mm-hmm. There is an element of spiritual development within it, just because there's a labyrinth on the property, and I'm incorporating that into a workshop we're hosting. There is a
fire pit.
There is a fire pit, so we're going to be doing some stuff there. And there is a meditation space. And so if you're open-minded to that and interested, it is a beautiful retreat option for you. April 19th to the 22nd.
Yeah, the retreat, the lodge itself is, it's been in existence for 40 years. I think it's this year or next, they're celebrating, this milestone.
Awesome.
But, it's what is it called? Log. It's made out of logs. It was built by volunteers 40 years ago. And so inside it feels a little bit alpine, very woodsy, very comfortable, homey. There's a lot of space where you can gather in community, and the people who staff the lodge are members. They live in an intentional community. But there's also a lot of space on the grounds. It is specifically built to be a retreat. Mm-hmm. So the labyrinth, the fire pit, there's
hiking trails,
like out in the woodland paths.
Mm-hmm.
There's a creek. There's a hermitage. You can go look at the shack in the woods and imagine you're Walden.
No, come back to the lodge.
Yeah,
Be with the people.
We have
Yeah.
fun in the lodge. Um,
It'll be fun. I'm so excited. It'll be really, it really will be. The exercises that we've developed for it already are specific around this idea of recognizing where you are, where you want to go, and what we need to focus on within in order to get there, right? So that clarity concept is birthed within that space.
right. And something I'm very aware of it's I worked in an industry in the movie industry, independent film, for many years. And before that, I worked in industrial training. So I worked with power companies and paper mills and so forth. And I've been blessed to work in industries with a lot of men. So I have felt very comfortable working in groups of men. I have not worked in industries, and I've worked in groups of women in the film industry, but usually we were kind of smaller nuggets per project. So sometimes I feel like people look at retreats and they think, oh, and especially when there's a spiritual component or a holistic component to it, any intuition, any personal growth. I think sometimes they assume, it's all women.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't feel that way at all. When I've been to the retreat center before, I actually did a 90-minute workshop there, and it was a mixed group of
Good.
men and women. And so I want to extend to anybody who's watching this, don't feel that gender precludes anything.
No, yeah, we were pretty specific about that, just knowing the ARC Retreat Center's audience and the work that we do. If couples want to come, they're welcome.
Absolutely.
So we have an early bird of $7.97 until November 1st, and then it goes up to $9.97, and we have space for 12. So if you're interested, we'll put the link in the link for the retreat in the description. And on the page is an option to book a 15-minute call with us so that you can meet us ahead of time, talk about any concerns you have.
Right.
And
I really look forward to those conversations.
I know, me too. It's really good, especially when you're.
What are you looking for?
Exactly. Let's make sure that this is a good fit for you. So.
Right.
All right, you guys. Well, I'm always available. On my Facebook page, Carrie Severson, and I run a Facebook group called The Soulful Storyteller, so you can always find me in there.
And my Facebook business page is Forward Marsh.
Awesome.
My name's Lorie Marsh. You would find my personal profile on Facebook, but for my business page, which has all sorts of information about upcoming things Carrie and I might be doing to tell you more about the retreat, or also on my Facebook page is I think there's a link to, oh no, that's in my private Facebook group. It might be on my blog. Anyway, I had this great discussion with Carrie like 8 months ago, and she talked about using high vibe words and what that meant. And there was a whole worksheet with it and everything. So off the top of my head, if that's going to be anywhere on Facebook, it's going to be at Forward Marsh on my page.
I love it. Yeah. All right. Well, we hope to meet you in Minnesota. If you have any questions about Spring into Clarity, please let us know.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.